called to serve. When you look at the names on this memorial or see people being honored for their service in a parade, you witness people who committed themselves to a greater mission. Sometimes that mission eclipses the individual stories of sacrifice, duty, honor, and conviction for those who served. Join me as we honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and those who came home and continued serving their communities and country today on Hometown. Shortly after Mel Gibson's movie Hacksaw Ridge was released, Desmond Doss Jr. paid tribute to his father in an interview. He demonstrated that unconditional love, compassion, acceptance, and forgiveness are possible, even in the most adverse circumstances. We don't like to talk about war and bloodshed. Yet in the last 250 years, 1.2 million Americans were killed and 1.4 million wounded in service to our country. The most brutal war of all was our own Civil War, in which more than 650,000 Americans died. It is heartbreaking that in this broken world, wars and rumors of wars are a brutal fact of life. Every day, citizens of all walks of life step up to protect people like you and me from harm. Every one of those lives has its own story, a story that impacts millions of families for many generations. And even for those who serve and come home to tell about it, that story of service remains an integral part of who they are. Today, we honor military service, those who served and those still serving, essential ingredients in the remarkable story of us.
Steve, I'm sitting in one of my favorite places ever, and that's in an airplane.
I can imagine. For somebody who likes to fly, you should be able to sit in an airplane.
I am. Steve, and you are commander of what here in Walla Walla?
I'm the squadron commander of the Twin W Composite Squadron Civil Air Patrol.
Civil Air Patrol.
Yes.
So tell me, what is the Civil Air Patrol?
Well, the Civil Air Patrol is auxiliary of the United States Air Force. And
you help with emergency services?
We help with emergency services. We help with various things that happen throughout the place. We send up our plane if they need us. We send people out to help people bag sand for sandbags. And in general, we just help the city or the county with whatever they need. And we can also send our plane from here to anywhere in the state as it's needed.
Well, it's great to sit here and to be in this plane. This is a Cessna 172.
Cessna 172.
And it's great, again, to be in an airplane. And the fact, though, that we have this Civil Air Patrol across the country to help in whatever added needs that our town needs, the city needs, the state needs, to have the people. About how many people are in the Civil Air
there's
Patrol?
about 60,000 civilian or 60,000 members, so both senior members and cadets. So it's somewhat skewed half and half. So you get half cadets, half seniors. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. And so we go out, and a lot of the Eastern Coast or East Coast or the Midwest teams, all the floods and stuff we've had, Civil Air Patrol goes out and photographs those, and it's taken care of by the AFRCC.
And Civil Air Patrol started when?
Civil Air Patrol started on December 1st, 1941.
1941, and what happened just days later?
Days later, we were at full-blown war.
After Pearl Harbor on December 7th. And I was reading online, and it said that on December 8th, there was a lot of recruiting going on.
There was a lot of recruiting going on. That, it took a while to get our forces up, but we managed to get them.
But you did mention about the East Coast, and Civil Air Patrol came to help with what on the East Coast during the war?
On the East Coast, they started squadrons that flew Coastal Patrol, and they were watching for watching for German submarines all along the coast, because the Germans were tearing up the shipping and such on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And they went out and flew for about 9 months. And then the Germans decided to leave. They felt that it wasn't safe anymore.
But it's interesting, as we're sitting here in this Cessna, this is the plane, this is the model of plane, I should say, that was used when after the bomb or the Trade Center.
Well, it was it was used to fly photographic missions and such as that for the Air Force, and it's such a historical airplane that they preserved it, and now it's hanging it in a hangar someplace.
Right. So what they did is they used the 172 to go in and to take pictures of New York, because obviously the Air Force planes were too fast.
Too fast.
And so they used a Civil Air Patrol Cessna 172 to do that. Well, Steve, thank you so much for being in here, and we've got some other people here in your squadron we're going to chat with. So thanks.
All right, sounds good.
It's great to learn more about the Civil Air Patrol here in Walla Walla. And Ted, tell us what your role is here.
Well, I'm personnel and logistics and administration mostly. I used to do a lot of emergency services, but I'm getting a little old for that, long in the tooth.
Hey, well, you're doing what you can do, and you've been serving with Civil Air Patrol for how many years?
Well, it's less than 35. I think it's about 33 or something like that.
All right. And Steve, how many years for you?
Oh, about 11, 12.
11. Okay.
Total time.
Okay. All right, good. And Bill, how many years for you?
I've been with Civil Air Patrol for 37 years.
37.
Started when my kids were small.
And why did you get involved?
I came out here to help them with their radio systems that they asked questions about, and I had that experience in the Air Force, so I still do that.
Okay. And you're also a private pilot?
Private pilot. I've flown about 800 hours of search time in Civil Air Patrol airplanes.
So tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean for a search like that?
Civil Air Patrol searches are based on something is missing. Primarily, aircraft have gone down somewhere, and we need to find the survivors, if we can find survivors. So airplanes don't come down in anywhere convenient, so we have to be able to get way back in the mountains, up in the mountains, and hunt for those aircraft. All aircraft these days are equipped with an emergency locator transmitter, and if that goes off, we can find it a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Otherwise, we spend a lot of time back and forth.
So tell me about the cadet training program. We're talking ground school, we're talking what?
The primary training for cadets is based on 4 particular functions. First, of course, is aerospace education. They learn about airplanes, they learn about weather, they learn about rockets, they learn about space. Then the second part is leadership, and that's our primary goal, is to turn out good leaders into the future. The third part is physical training, so they have a physical training requirement that they do. And then the fourth one that you do every
Character development.
Character development.
Yep.
There's a wonderful program for the cadets to develop real moral leadership.
Okay.
Yep.
We used to call it moral leadership.
Okay. Well, as someone who loves aviation, flying airplanes, and it's wonderful to learn more as a pilot and to learn about more about your organization. And not only do you have the plane here, but we're also now going to transition over to where your training facility is and where you meet with your cadets. So we'll take a pop over there. So we've seen your plane, the Civil Air Patrol plane, the Cessna 172 here in Walla Walla, and where are we sitting now?
We're now in our headquarters building, little building that we rent from the port for a measly small amount of money.
Okay. And
Not-
this is where you have your meetings
This
with
is where our meetings
cadets?
are.
So what's it like for the three of you to be here and to have your cadets around you and to be just part
I
of
feel
this?
old. I've been here forever.
They're very sharp
great.
and they
Most
catch
of-
on pretty fast.
Yeah, most of these kids are really, they're interested. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. They're interested to be here and they want to do this. And so it's good to see. I mean, we've had 2 of our cadets out of this unit go to the Air Force Academy. Both of them have graduated the Air Force Academy. Been to Europe, been to Hawaii, been all over the world. We have one right now that's in Hanoi, I believe. He is in the Army. He's a major. And Hadeen, a young man named Mr. Hadeen, and he works with the federal government. He's stationed with the federal government at the, what do you call it, the embassy.
Okay. So you must be very proud.
Oh, we've
You
got
must
some
be very
terrific
proud.
young people.
And
One of our cadets from this unit was actually a general in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
flew the Thunderbirds
well, that's
And
fantastic.
the
Commanding officer.
SR-71.
and the SR-71.
Local person
Local
named,
family.
Bob Beckel.
Bob Beckel.
Well, you should be proud. And thank you to the three of you, 34 years of service to America, and we want to say thank you for that. And you
And that
have,
doesn't include our CAP service.
Yeah.
well, see it, which is even more.
3 times as much as that.
30.
So you have brochures about the cadet program, and thank you so much for sharing with us on Hometown. And thank you so much for the hat that I will.
That comes with an attachment. You have to join
The
CAP.
application.
All right, see the pressure's on. Well, you know I like the whole flying thing. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much.
For people who want to know, go to what's on there.
Yep. Go civilpatrol.com
CivilAirPatrol.com.
Yeah.
and then pilots, and we'll
And
put
you
all
can't
this up
believe how
there.
much information there is about CAP out there. It's just unbelievable.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for what you do, and God bless you, and keep your airspeed up.
Well, thank you for being here and letting us fill you full of our wonderful experiences.
Well, thank you so much.
Vic, it's great to be able to chat with you a little bit today. You have been working on a very special project involving veterans. Can you tell me about it a little bit?
Well, it's interviewing veterans. I work with Dixie Ferguson. She does the interviews and I do the recording, and then I go and check out the whole video and write down the important places in it and make a note of the time of that, because these are used in the Library of Congress for research. And I look at research that's probably somebody, when they look at these videos, they're not going to watch the whole video, probably. Maybe they will. But they may out looking for certain things. So I look for certain themes, and I mark that, and they can find on the time and go right to it on the interview.
Mm-hmm. So you just said this is for the Library of Congress. This sounds very important.
Well, it is. It's an important project, and we're not the only ones doing it. People are doing it all over the United States. They have thousands and thousands of interviews, and some very fascinating interviews. I mean, some of these people are real heroes, and some real touching interviews. There's some I get kind of choked up when I talk about them.
Sure. So you are capturing very, very important stories that we don't want to lose.
Right,
That's
yeah.
why we're recording them. We need to know firsthand what has happened to these individuals who
Right.
have been serving. So can you share with me a couple of stories or whatever comes to mind that were really
I'll tell you,
poignant?
there's 2 stories that just stick in my mind. One is The Night on the Mountain. It takes about an hour of the video to talk about this story, where you ever heard of LRRPs? LRRP. They're Long Range Reconnaissance Patrols.
Okay.
They were at the hill overlooking where the Ho Chi Minh Trail comes out of Cambodia into Vietnam. And they were up there at night, and they suddenly saw a lot of lights coming down the trail. And they were pretty sure it was Viet Cong or the North Korean Army, the North Vietnamese Army.
Yeah.
NVA. And so they called in artillery from their base 30 miles away, and they shelled it for about 2 hours And then the lights went out immediately. But when they stopped shelling, the lights went back on, and there was a lot of guys down there. And so they were stuck in this hill, and they had to get in a secure area down where there's some more shelter. They were there for, I think it was 18 hours, I think, something like that. And they tried to retrieve them. They couldn't because there's so much dust. They had the helicopter to take them out, and Cobras firing on the place all around so that they could be protected.
Yeah.
And finally they had to leave, but they ran out of ammo and gasoline.
Yes.
But they came back with 3 retried helicopters and 12 Cobras. And they finally retrieved them out.
Yes.
And we have a picture of them hanging. They had to use McGuire rigs, where there's ropes where they put their feet in from the helicopter. And they have a picture of them hanging from that. The helicopter was taken from them.
Yeah, amazing.
But that's one of them.
Yes.
And then, of course, the other story that I remember is Albert Rick. When he left over there to go over there, he was married at the time, newly married. He asked his wife, he says, "What do you want for a souvenir?" And she says, "Bring me an orphan."
Oh. Oh. Yeah,
I get a little emotional
That's
when I
right.
talk about that,
that's right.
but he did.
He did.
But the story how he got them back is really a marvelous story.
Incredible
And
story.
it's one of the, but of course there's a lot of other stories too. I could regale you for hours, and you
I'm
don't
sure
have
you
time
could.
for that.
So these stories that you're telling are so fascinating, so interesting. How can people see these stories? Can they?
Well, I put some of them on YouTube. I get permission from the veterans. There's quite a few of them on YouTube. There's some down at the public library, and the Library of Congress puts some of them online, so you can read them, I believe.
Well, Vic, you're doing good work. It's a wonderful thing that you're working on, and thanks for sharing with us about it.
Well, I'm glad to do it. It's a real honor to do it and meet so many good people.
Dixie, I'm so glad we're having an opportunity to talk about a very important project, getting the stories of our veterans, getting them recorded for posterity, and not just so to speak, but literally for posterity. So how long have you been involved in that project?
I was asked to do this starting 2014. The American Red Cross up in Spokane gave me a phone call and said, you know, if you're interested, maybe you could find a few veterans around the Walla Walla Valley. And because of my background, I was a donut dolly in Vietnam. So they figured if anybody could probably relate, it would be someone maybe that was there.
Yes, that makes good sense.
Right. So I was happy to do it. And thank you, Walla Walla University. That's where the first studio was. They supported me in videotaping.
Yes.
And it just took off from there.
We have so many special people here in our community whose stories we haven't been hearing. And you're getting to hear them.
I am.
Do you think that the veterans have been reluctant to talk about these things?
I do. Again, I do have an advantage. I tell them right away a little bit of my background.
Yes.
And they feel more comfortable about that.
You were there.
The sights, smells, sounds, location. So maybe we can share with her.
Yeah.
So that definitely is an advantage. And I do think it's a season of their life. I can tell you the World War II veterans, they came home, we heard the stories. I mean, they would just get married, get a job, never talk about it again, but it was always there. So in their senior years, they felt like, you know, for posterity, for my family, it's time to talk. And it was good timing for me.
Yeah, and then they were willing to open up.
They were.
So when you started in 2014, there were still quite a few World War II veterans
There were.
alive and ready to talk. Not so many now. They have to be, what, in their mid-90s
They are.
and above?
Yes. Out of 16.4 million who served in World War II, we have about 119,000 in the whole country that are alive in their 90s. And every day about 130 are passing away. In fact,
Yes.
just this last week, I lost another World War II veteran here. Yeah.
Yeah, so getting those stories, this is the last opportunity to have those stories. Well, this project is being preserved by the Library of Congress, and I know that we can access at least some of these through YouTube, true?
That's true.
Other ways we can see them?
Yes, about 10% of those who are submitted, and there are by the thousands, as you can imagine, they digitalize about 10% of them that you can access through the Library of Congress Veterans History Project.
Okay, so you go to the website for that?
You can. Of course, not all of them. Vic Phillips, my videographer, you can go to his YouTube channel. But you can still research, even though they're not digitalized, you can still research those that we have interviewed and read about their stories.
That is really neat.
I would like to add one thing about
Yeah,
this.
please.
The original copy does go to the Library of Congress. The families can have as many copies of that DVD as they wish, and Vic, is my videographer, is so good about that. I have been to funerals where families will come up to me and say, you just have no idea how special that is to hear our father or our family member's voice one more time. So that in itself is priceless.
Yeah. Beautiful work you're doing.
They will love it.
Thank you so much, Dixie.
It's endless.
Can't forget the camera. Just behind me here is a 90-foot tall fire tower here in the Umatilla National Forest that is still being manned, and I want to go explore it with you, but before I do, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've always been fascinated by fire tower lookouts. With technologies that we have today, the use of fire towers has gone down significantly, but not completely, as many are still used and manned as a valuable tool to serve and protect our forests and communities. Believe it or not, there were once over 8,000 fire lookout towers built across 49 states. Today, there are fewer than 2,000, with only 300 towers still being manned. The use of fire towers for smoke detection peaked in the late 1930s. Early communication from fire towers to firefighters was by means of a heliograph, a device using two mirrors to reflect sunlight, sending Morse code messages. Tower workers oftentimes will be on call 7 days a week from sun up till sundown for the entirety of the summer. All right, let's go look at the tower. This is Lookout Mountain Fire Tower. The original tower was constructed in 1935, standing at 60 feet tall, along with a bunkhouse that no longer exists. This tower has gone through many different reconstructions over the years, but the current tower stands at 90 feet tall and continues to be manned every year. You know, for most of us, we are all at home completely unaware to the fact that there are still individuals sitting in tall towers on the top of mountains keeping an eye out for smoke plumes. What an incredibly unique way of serving the local communities.
Those who serve are real-life examples of selfless commitment. While some joined voluntarily, others had no choice. However, in every case, veterans bear more than their share of responsibility for all of us. Nearly 10% of the citizens of our valley have served in armed conflict. They've answered the call to protect life, liberty, and the freedom we benefit from. On behalf of all of us here at Hometown, thank you. This is not nearly enough to repay you for your service and sacrifice, and we are profoundly grateful to you and will never forget your gifts to this nation. I fervently look forward to the time when there are no more tears, no more wars, and no more pain and suffering. Until then, I leave you with these words of Jesus. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Take a minute today to listen to a story or two and thank someone for their service. See you next week on another episode of Hometown.